Today on the CTV News at 5, a Southern Alberta town councillor steps down after being charged in a Brooks drug bust. Plus, who doesn't love the ice cream truck? You may be surprised how far it's traveled to get here. And how the University of Lethbridge is bringing art back to life.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. An Irricana town councillor is one of 3 people charged in a recent crack bust in Brooks. 36-year-old Wayne Niblo is charged with possession for the purpose of trafficking. RCMP say late last month they arrested a man in Brooks where he was allegedly transporting 107 grams of crack cocaine. They also executed a warrant at a Medicine Hat home where they seized more drugs and charged 2 other people. The town of Irricana has released a statement saying Niblo has resigned for personal reasons. He was acclaimed as town councillor in a by-election just in January. Town administrators say he always had the best of interests of Irricana in mind while in office. Now, the other 2 people charged in Medicine Hat were 44-year-old Christina Wells and 33-year-old John Gallagher. Alberta police chiefs are asking the province to put the brakes on speeders. Alberta police chiefs have passed a resolution to get tough on speeders and are now looking for the province's support. Chiefs want to be able to immediately seize vehicles of drivers caught going 50 kilometers an hour or more over the posted speed limit. And they also want to be able to impound that vehicle for 7 days and suspend the driver's license for a week.
It is a concern. Our focus is not on mom and pop speeding a little bit. Our focus is on those prolific offenders that are going extreme speeds, that are putting themselves in danger, or they're putting...
Lethbridge Regional Police are investigating a 2-vehicle crash on the city's south side that left 1 vehicle on its side. Happened around 8 o'clock this morning on Mayor McGrath Drive near the Nikki Yoko Gardens. At least 1 person was taken to hospital, but we don't have any details on the extent of their injuries. Cranbrook RCMP are investigating a double stabbing that happened early yesterday morning in that city. Police were called to an area of 17th Avenue and 8th Street North around 4 a.m. 2 men were attacked by another man who allegedly accused the pair of stealing something. Now, the victims were transported to the East Kootenay Hospital. They have had surgery for serious but non-life-threatening injuries. They're recovering in hospital. Now, Cranbrook RCMP believes the stabbings could be a case of mistaken identity. They're looking for your help. If you have any information, please contact Cranbrook RCMP. Firefighters from across the province were put to the test this weekend in a head-to-head competition. The Scott Fire Fit Championships were held in Brooks over the weekend. The competitions, both team and individual, are based on tasks firefighters would typically have to carry out in emergency situations. This is the Lethbridge Fire Department team of Chris Tamaris, Mitch Dirk, and Riley McLaren. They made it to the semifinals before being knocked out by a team from Calgary. National championships will be in Edmonton in September. Well, Dory, the saying is, if you want different weather in southern Alberta, just wait 5 minutes. I think these days it's more like 2 minutes, maybe even a minute and a half. Lots of variety this week.
Although we did really squeeze out some really nice temperatures and conditions on the weekend. All the outdoor events were happening without a snag. A little bit of late day disturbances in some areas, but all in all, it was pretty good. It looks like that's how this week is shaping up as well. We're starting the week with that chance of late day thunder shower activity today and again tomorrow. Some showers midweek, and it looks like a pretty nice weekend. I'll have details in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory Rossiter. It's one of those classic sounds of summer, and it's finally returned to Lethbridge streets. We're talking about the ice cream truck. Once a summer staple, and as Daryl Rummold found out, it's come a long, long way to be with us.
It's this sweet sound that brings parents back to their childhood and makes their kids rush into the streets.
It always excites us as soon as we hear the music.
This is Tamer Akbalud's dream, brought to life 1 scoop at a time.
The best part is just to enjoy seeing the kids smiling and running around and being positive. That's the best part for me.
This truck began its journey 5 years ago in the Northwest Territories after being converted from a Canada Post delivery truck into an ice cream parlor on wheels. This year, Akbalud headed south in search of hotter weather and longer days, and he hopes he's found it in Lethbridge. The warm season in Lethbridge lasts from June 10th to September 10th with an average daily high temperature above 21 degrees Celsius, a much longer and hotter season than the Northwest Territories. And he's banking on those trends to continue.
A few days ago I noticed there is another one, there is a second ice cream truck also on the road, so I believe they're coming slowly. So
he says that's good news for his industry, one that seemed to vanish years ago from most of Western Canada with the dissolution of the Dickie D Company in 2002, which saw pedal bikes with freezers tour streets in cities and towns. And customers couldn't be more delighted with the return of the ice cream truck.
Because all the kids from the whole neighborhood rush to the ice cream truck. It's amazing. And it's the sound of summer. Our summers are really short in southern Alberta, and it's wonderful.
I like that I get chocolate sprinkle.
Akbalad says he's proud to restore one of the staples of summer to city streets and, of course, their ever-popular sweet treats.
Lethbridge needs more ice cream men.
Daryl Rummel, CTV News, Lethbridge.
There is no set course for the ice cream truck, but believe us, you'll know when it's in your neighborhood. A group of Cranbrook teens are hoping to save their prize-winning robot. The Mount Baker Secondary School Robotics Club spent thousands of hours building it. They earned them a bronze prize medal at the National Skills Competition, but now they can't afford to keep it. Kimberly Davidson explains.
This is R2Z2, the from-scratch robot built by Cranbrook High School students and bronze medalist at the National Robotics Skills Competition. The Mount Baker Secondary School Robotics Club, made up of 3 enthusiastic members, put all of their spare time in the last 9 months into the project.
I think each of us has spent at least 300, 400 or a little bit higher than that
each
hours.
Yeah, easily. We've been working at this from start of school, so September till now.
And there's been weekends that we come into the school and work from 1 o'clock in the afternoon all the way till 10 o'clock at night.
R2Z2 is specifically designed. The object of the skills competition is to build a robot that can go through an obstacle course that includes going over a teeter-totter and stairs and collecting and stacking small wooden pallets, all while dodging competing robots.
Well, there's a lot of machining, like all of the parts, they machine them. There's metal work, a lot of electronics, and then just, I guess it would be physics, because there's an awful lot of simple machines all in that one machine.
When R2Z2 took top prize at provincials, the club qualified for the nationals in Vancouver, but they had to make their own way there, something that wouldn't have happened without community and business sponsorship.
The Robotics Club would like to keep R2Z2 intact, but the robot contains about $4,000 worth of parts that next year's club could use. And besides, the club doesn't really have the space to store it. So they're going to the community once again for support to try and keep R2Z2 from being disassembled.
I would like it to stay one piece, stay how it is right now, and
possibly put on display or something for
other people to see.
The students believe that even as technology changes, future robotics clubs could learn from their successful robot design. Kimberly Davidson, CTV News, Cranbrook.
It's a remarkable art collection, but it doesn't tell the whole story. Now a team at the University of Lethbridge is embarking on an ambitious project to build an oral history to go along with the amazing paintings of many First Nations leaders and community members. Historical Project is focusing on the vast works of Nicolas de Grandmaison, who often stayed with ranchers and farmers and Aboriginal families while he painted their portraits here. His collection mostly covers the period from the 1930s to the 1960s. BMO Financial Group recently donated 67 original pastel portraits to the U of L. Now the Art Gallery and University Archives are working to gather information about the people in the paintings and the stories behind them.
The nice part about it also is that there's so many layers. I mean, there's different kinds of documents, but the paintings make it really kind of a personal connection, and that you kind of get that sense of the individuality of each person. And it shows kind of what artwork can do, that it can be an important part of our kind of cultural memory and our way of kind of connecting with each other.
But I think what's good about an oral history project, especially because these are portraits, is you can talk to the family and you get more than just a kind of a bureaucratic history. And I think that goes well with the portraits, because unlike a photograph, you really get the personality behind the person.
Students have been contacting members of the Blood and Begani First Nations. Anyone with stories or information are urged to contact the U of L Art Gallery. Many of the paintings are featured at an exhibit that continues until June the 27th. Over 100 people took a walk to remember this weekend. Bagpipes accompanied the start of this year's Alzheimer's Society's Memory Walk at Henderson Lake on Saturday. The event helped raise over $17,000 to help fund research to find a cure and run programs for those who suffer with disease in Lethbridge. Alzheimer's affects nearly 1.5 million people in Canada.
It's not necessarily an elder's illness anymore, and it's hard for people from the rural communities to get into Lethbridge to access services sometimes. So we want to spread out and be in the rural areas.
It started 5 years ago as the 100-mile bike ride, and its tradition continues. Over 50 cyclists loaded their bikes on buses Saturday. Then they went to the BC border and cycled 100 miles back to Lethbridge, finishing up with a barbecue at Galt Gardens. The ride is aimed at raising awareness and money to help people with disabilities and their families. This year, they also rode for the School District 51 Kids of Poverty Prevention Program. Organizers say it's a long, hard ride, but well worth it.
Everybody is so excited, even at 5:30 in the morning. Everybody is just so excited. There's all levels of kind of fitness on the ride, from experienced riders who ride marathons and people who this is their first time riding. They haven't even been on a bike this year.
Our organization is deeply based in community. We believe in a caring community, and we find opportunities for people with developmental disabilities to be meaningfully engaged in the community. And anytime a great place like Lethbridge comes together for the greater good, we find it's such a great atmosphere and really does reflect the goodwill of this community.
Last year, the event raised $40,000 for charity. Well, CTV Lethbridge received a very special recognition this weekend. Our 5 p.m. newscast was chosen for the Burt Cannings Award as the best newscast in Canada in the small market category.
And the winner is CTV Lethbridge for the 5 p.m.
The award was presented during a gala in Toronto Saturday, and the Lethbridge Award was accepted by CTV Toronto News Director Paul Rogers. Overall, CTV News received 9 national awards, 24 regional honors, and 3 special recognitions from industry peers. A story told by our Darrell Rummold also won the Best Sports Story Award at the regional level. Our thanks to all of the people who are involved in putting together this show every night, and all of you who let us tell your stories. Coming up, a look at how the markets kicked off the week.